love that.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I know I was looking at the intro, and I'm just looking at all our outfits, and it just brings back so many memories that we have to really go back and look and do another sizzle reel, because that was so fabulous when we did it for the first year. So we definitely need to do that one. So good morning, everyone, and welcome. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am the Badass Buddha, Dr. Lori Monaco. I am your chiropractic physician, your teacher, speaker, coach, specializing in mindfulness and transformation. I am your weight loss specialist and soon to be first-time published author, and coming to you from Southern Connecticut. So good morning, and shout out good morning to Tiffany Bryan first on. Look at that.
Yay, Tiffany! Such a beautiful name. Tiffany, where did your mother come up with that name? From where did she name you from? Does anybody ever ask you that, Lori?
Where I got my name from?
Yeah, like why did your mother name you that? Like where did she get the name from? Where was the inspiration?
I don't know if I've ever asked her that.
No?
I think my dad actually named me, or my dad, I don't know. My sister's name is more unique than mine because her spelling. She spells it, hers is Leanne, and she spells it Liane, which is different. She never had anybody that name. All right, who are you?
Tell me it was General Hospital.
What?
Good morning, Erica.
All right, you're going to introduce yourself? Let everybody know who you are.
Yeah, but wait, I want to know about that soap opera. Good morning, buenos días, namaste, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita, your gladiator guru, who's very tired today. You know why? I started drinking lavender tea at night, and it makes me feel like I took a sleeping pill because, and I was in bed pretty early and I'm tired. Anyway, yes, Tiffany, that's where I named my Tiffany from. Scorpio's girlfriend, Tiffany.
Oh my God, General Hospital.
Yeah, so I am your author, your abstract artist. I am your, you know what? I never gave credit. I'm the creator and founder of Cricket's Whispers, Me Time, where you learn how to silence the noise and listen to the whisper of hope. I am your spiritual and creative healing life coach, your sacred healer. I am the one you come to when you need a hot café con leche to cry or talk over. I am your end of life doula. How could I forget?
You almost forgot. I know, my goodness gracious.
So, you know what, mi gente? We are a lot. I am a lot of things, but at the end of the day, I am Margarita de Margarita, which means I belong to me. So I must make all, at the end of the day, I am.
Needed it to be repeated. I needed it to be repeated at the end of the day. Yes, go ahead.
I am my caregiver. I am my super fucking hero. I have to choose wisely. So welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche, Michelle Inmar Rivera. Thank you for always coming on. Yes, buenos dias. What's in your cup, Badass Buddha? Because I'm gonna brag about my bag of coffee.
It's the same as it was on Tuesday. What did I say? It was fuel. I knew you were going to ask me that, and I was thinking, oh my God, I got to go grab the bag. What did I say it was last time? It was fuel, right?
It was decaf. That's all I remember.
It's decaf still. It's your favorite, I know. It's decaf still. Yes. So it's okay though. Tastes all right. How about you?
It's okay. As long as you're happy with it, I don't matter. Okay. I am Richie. Richie. He has
yeah.
Yes, he sent me a surprise. I got a box in the mail from Geek Grind. And I don't know, is the light too light on here? So he sent me, where am I? Right here.
I love the bag.
Darwin Dawn. The other one is like fire or something, so it's red. But yes, it's a man it's like a Greek god, I think. I don't know.
All right.
And where am I? Where's my finger? Oh, there's the man and holding up two things over here. So it's pretty cool. Adventure collection. So I have the adventure collection, Café de Colombia. So, and it is good because I have to adult in my life these next couple of weeks. I just put like half a scoop of coffee so that it's bearable for me to drink black. So I can't wait to taste that mother. And look at my hair. What's wrong with my hair? There you go.
No, it's all right.
Estoy Zarapastrosa. Good morning, Lillian.
Good morning, Iritza. Good morning, Arika Bolahala in the house. Francia, yes. Good morning. Good morning to all of you. Happy Thursday. And thank goodness the weekend is coming. Hooray. How lovely is it? Hopefully everybody had a great week. I know we have one more day left. But, you know, share with us. Make sure you always say shout out so we know you're there. But let us know, you know, if you got any big plans coming up this weekend. Because today we're going to be talking about mastering self. You know, we've had this conversation before. Basically, everything we talk about is always centered around mastering ourselves, you know. So we're going to have another conversation on this, and it's going to be a fabulous conversation with our guest today. So what are you doing for yourself this weekend? And if you're not doing something specifically for yourself, if you're doing it for somebody else, what will you gain for yourself by doing that? How's that? Because sometimes giving is also as good as receiving. Ooh, where was I going with that? Was I getting dirty with that? I'm not. I'm staying very clean with that. So sometimes giving is as good as receiving. And so, you know, what are you doing for yourself this weekend that may also be for somebody else? And good morning, our Janice is on. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Buenos días, mi gente. I'm so excited when I see all of you. And Lillian, I just bragged about my Richard's gift. Richard is Lillian's son. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. So I'm happy with it. Yes, good morning. Might get a massage. There you go. Now, let me tell you something about my son-in-law. He gets pedicures on his own, or he'll go with my granddaughter or my daughter. He gets massages. Gets his little fade every week, and he's a giver. So, you know, there's not many people like our Janice, and I'm honored to know him. Salud, papi. Yes.
And he's a good dad, and he's a good hubby, and he's a great businessman.
He is a great businessman, and he's kind in his business, but he's not stupid. He'll let you know if you're trying to get over on him, and he catches it. Most times in the beginning more than the end, but he'll let you know in such a way that you feel bad for trying to get over on him. Like, you don't get mad that he caught you. You feel bad that you intended it, and your intentions were that in the first place. So yeah, there's far and few.
Oh my God! Look what Iritza wrote, and he's hot. Wow, you know, Henny, you're getting so much love this morning.
He reminds me of my ex that I'll be in love with forever. Their grandfather, Rob. He's just like Tiffany's. Like, it's like I married my dad, with the way he is, with the way he, you know, cleans the house. There's nothing that's not a man's duty. And, you know, everybody got their flaws. But if you cry, he'll cry with you. How many people are you going to find like that? It's very beautiful. I'm sorry I'm putting your business out there, Janice. But yeah, he reminds us to be human. How's that? Wonderful. When you're around a man like our Janice, he reminds us to just be human, not male and female, not a man can't cry and a woman's this. No, but just to be human.
You know what? That's actually such a beautiful thing, because it's a legacy. Like, what are we leaving? You know, I had to do a little exercise in a group thing that I was doing, like a 2-day event, and they had us write our eulogy. And, you know, people have done this before where you write, you know, and it's very interesting to write it, because you've got to really think about the things that you've done in your life that would be worthy. If you haven't done that much, you're like, wow, there's really not a lot to say. Or if you've done a lot, there's a lot to say. But it also makes you aware of what you've done and how you want to be remembered, So I think that's what's always pushed me to be a better person, is to, not that I want it focused on when I'm dead, but I want it focused on now. I want people to know that what they're getting with me, and I don't, I don't hold back anymore like I used to, because I know what I'm capable of, and I know that I can be a really good person. So when somebody says otherwise, I know they don't know me very well, if that's the case, But at the same time, it's that badass Buddha balance. I've also become tougher in my life to stand up for myself. So, and I love that. I think, people like Henny they're great role models. It's nice to be able to put that out there. So don't be embarrassed by it, Henny. And I don't think he is, but it's nice, because in order for us to be better sometimes we have to see what's out there. And so we have to mirror sometimes other people, and we mirror them, say, oh, I like, not that you want to be them. You just want to be like them, but in your own version. Right. So,
sorry. But I do like that. There's no reason not to be yourself. Absolutely.
Right.
For those who've known me forever, they know I'm me everywhere I go. I'm loud. I'll check your ass if you keep getting my name wrong. I don't care what forum, what setting we're at. I've never had time to pretend to be anybody else or to fit in. I'm never gonna fit in. Never. I knew that from a young age.
But that's what I love about you. You've always known that about yourself. Like, that wasn't me at all. That wasn't me. And I want to shout out to my aunt. My aunt is on. Aunt Mary Jane.
Hello, Aunt Mary Jane.
From Long Island. Coming from Long Island. So that's what I've always loved about you. It's the fact that you've always been unapologetically yourself. And it's made me push that piece of myself too. And I think that's the beauty of it. I think that's why we have such a great friendship, is because we were just talking about this the other day. Was it yesterday or the day or it was yesterday? We are so alike on really important matters, and then we are opposite on other elements. And so those pieces help each other. We help each other make ourselves stronger. So wherever wherever you're falling a little short on, hopefully I fill that in to boost you up, and vice versa. And I know you do. So look at that. Good morning, Gwen. Good morning, Michelle Houston. Iritza, are you away? Is Iritza away?
No, our other cousin brought her. She wrote it up here. I'm drinking cafe from Costa Rica. So, yeah, I just actually roasted some organic coffee from Costa Rica. I haven't tasted it yet. Tanny, come over so we can do a cupping. So yeah, not at all. I'm super proud of who I am. I owe it all to everyone. I have surrounded myself with family, friends, and business.
That's beautiful. See, that just shows you what a nice guy he is, because he's also giving kudos to the people around him for helping make him the person he is. So that's just, my God, you're just phenomenal. Can we clone you? Like, we need to clone you.
So yes, that's good. That's good. You have the mantra?
I have the mantra, so go to the intention, my friend.
My intention today is what is an intention? Is a promise to honor the soul's truth. So today's intention is for you to promise to honor your soul's truth. Intention, the promise to honor the soul's truth.
Fabulous.
So do that.
I think that we dishonor it way too often, and that's why we're so miserable.
And that's what we had that discussion yesterday. It's about honor. It's about feeding your spirit. It's about honoring who you are at the spot you're standing at right now. Doesn't mean you're always going to be there, but honor and acknowledge that you are here. That we're in this spot. That my hair's a mess this morning, and I'm freaking loving it.
I think it looks great. So don't even. All right. So, and the mantra for today is, I am me and I am fabulous. That's what you're going to say all day today. I am me and I am fabulous. All right. And let's see, before we get on, so our Jenna says, Ma, come over this weekend, bring a toothbrush. Chip is going to need your help with renovation of the kitchen.
I'll make breakfast.
I'll make breakfast. Oh, well, that just sweetens the deal. Can I come too? I'll help with
I had
renovation.
breakfast. We had this.
I'm really good.
Suppose I'm
really
offering me food when I'm trying to
oh, yeah, she's
cleanse
right.
my system.
No breakfast. Intermittent fasting. Okay, so let me give a little bio to our that fabulous guest today. So Sopheia McMorris is an executive wisdom mentor, certified professional transformation life coach, CEO and founder of Wisdom Speaks Life. I love the name of that. Her clients hire her to help them create and implement their one-page secret success strategy plan for an integrated, harmonious, fulfilling life. Sophia has a bachelor's of science degree in African American studies and political science. She is an author and has spent over 20 years as a homeschool teacher. That right there, my friends, is one of the hardest jobs to do. I know that. Today, Sophia with Sophia Speaks Wisdom offers various coaching programs and services from private one-to-one coaching and group coaching programs. And I just want to write again, we love when they add these little details. We ask them if they have anything else, give detail about the information, the topics you've picked. So they give a whole bunch of categories. And she said, I'm a transformational life coach, transformation life coach. I teach the art of self-mastery, which teaches about self-relationships as the foundation of all other relationships, whether in business or life. As part of your personal development, there are mindset shifts we must make to grow and develop ourselves for ongoing transformation. Right. We talk about that. Is it a mind shift or mind shit? Because that's what happens. It's one or the other. I believe love is all our superpowers. Specifically, self-love must be first and foremost for all other forms of loves. It is what heals and helps us achieve and become our best and highest potential. Love is the power that we hold within and in turn gives to the world. So wonderful. So we're going to welcome our beautiful guest. Here she is, Sopheia McMorris. There she is.
Morning.
Hello. Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm good, thank you.
Now you're coming from where, Sophia? I can't remember. Are you in Georgia?
I'm Chicago, Illinois.
I wasn't even close. Like, it's sad. I wasn't even a little bit close. So good morning. So how is everything over where you are today? It's a little cloudy over where I am. And I think Gladiator Guru said it's a little cloudy in Florida.
Yeah, it's a little cloudy here too.
Okay. So we're all getting that.
So the sun is coming.
So we are here. Well, the sun is here because the three of us are here. Right?
Yes.
So we are bringing the sun to everyone this morning. So tell everybody a little bit about, how you run your business and what you offer for people. And then let's get into this. Let's talk about what it means to be the art of, mastering yourself. What do we do? What do we need?
Okay. So I have courses. I teach and train people in the art of self-mastery. I think it is absolutely most important that we are able to master ourselves because it's the key to everything, to live in our lives to our highest potential. And so I put a big emphasis on it. And I also put a big emphasis on people being committed to live into their highest potential. Yes. And so I know that's why for me, when you guys mentioned, you were talking about gravestone or whatever, that you would, your eulogy, I was like, for me, I want that to be that I was committed to living to my highest potential. That's it.
Love that. I love that because committed means, you're all in.
Yes.
You're all in. And there's so many of us, and I have to say us because there's certain things that I'm very fully committed on. And there's other things that I have like 1 foot out the door and 1 foot in. And I'm working through those things, right? Because that's part of transformation anyway, is lifelong growth. And you have to keep learning till you reach all those, milestones. But commitment is a big word because we're all in. And when we choose ourselves to be all in for ourselves, it is the most incredible thing that we can do for ourselves, and absolutely is part of self-love, because self-love is also self-honoring and self-care.
Yeah.
So, and our Jenna says, good morning, Sophia.
Good morning.
Our Janice is our man on today. We usually have mostly women, but he's one of our followers, which is fabulous. We love him. So,
he's been
good morning to Rosa Ortiz.
They're celebrating 21 or 22 years of marriage now.
Wow.
My daughter and our Janice.
That's
So
incredible.
he's an angel to put up with her shit, let me tell you. Not on, but yeah, God bless him. God give him strength. But yeah, the eulogy, when I asked my kids to write one years ago, I don't know if Tiffany or Henny remembers, they were so upset with me. And I said, that's reality. This is part of life. You're gonna have to end up doing it. So why not do it when you can think happy things, when you can really write what matters instead of writing it under duress and sadness and anger. Yeah. And so, because I want them to write about, my eccentricities, like what value did I add to their lives, because they're my legacies.
Right.
And like one of them said that they'll never forget that for Halloween, they were so embarrassed when I dressed up with them, but I dressed up like a baby. So I took a white pillowcase and used it as a diaper. And I had like beige stockings on. And it's cold in Connecticut for Halloween. I was like, fuck it. I had the big pacifier, all these little things. But for them to be now with children and to go back to that memory about how embarrassed they was, but how they loved it, then that's why we do what we do, right? And that goes for like being committed to whatever it is that we're, and I think that's what's important. It's not what's in front of our names or behind our names. It's what's in the hearts of the people who loved us in our lifetime.
Exactly.
Sophia, why do you think people are so challenged with mastering self? What do you think when you have clients come in, what do you think the biggest issues or challenges that they have?
Well, I think one thing is they're not aware that 95% of their lives are lived in the subconscious mind, that autopilot in the comfort zone. And only 5% is lived in the conscious mind. And so that's the area that I focus on in helping them to be able to identify what they want, but to also to close that gap between what they want and, where they are now and what they want. Because a lot of times we just kind of think about, I want. And that's why I use the word commitment, because we can think about what we want, but we're not always committed to it. And then we don't know how to commit to it. So we have to, get out of the autopilot, get out of the comfort zone, and then start living in a way that's going to help us to get to where we want to get to. So that's why I work in that middle area of training them in the art of self-mastery, because that's about living your own values. Your beliefs, mastering your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, your behavior, your actions. All of those things are so important. But if we don't get that part together, then we can want all we want, but we're not always getting to it.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So it starts with awareness, right?
Yes.
And the beauty of it again is it's all mindfulness practice. It starts with awareness. You don't know what you know until you know.
Right.
And you cannot make changes with who you are until you know who you are. So it starts with knowing who you are today. And then you decide, am I happy with who I am today? Do I like the person that I'm seeing here? When you're talking about self-love, the other piece too is that there's self-love, but you also have to self-like, because it's just like people, like you could have family members or friends that you're like, I love that person, but I really don't like them, especially family members. You're like, I love them because they're my relatives, but I don't like them. So we have to do that to ourselves too. So
Right.
Once we become aware, then, and you say, okay, I don't like this about myself. That's the conscious piece. You're becoming conscious of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to retrain the brain. So how long does it tend to take for people to retrain themselves?
I think it depends on the individual. But what I like to say is that self-discovery is actually, I like to put that first, the understanding of yourself, and then gaining that self-knowledge. So now you're aware, because you can't change what you don't know. And then after that, then being willing to take the necessary steps. Self-discovery helps us to know, like, and trust ourselves, just like we want other people to know, like, and trust us.
And self-discovery is so lovely. Just the term self-discover. I'm discovering myself. It's so inspiring. And actually, Henny has a question. It says, Sopheia, why do you think people self-sabotage themselves when everything is going so perfect in their lives?
I think that's because they're still in that autopilot. And that's the area where you have to become conscious, because self-sabotage happens you doing something to yourself. You know that, for example, you have to get up at a certain time and be certain places, or do a particular thing. You have that assignment that's due at work or anything like that, but yet you'll procrastinate and you'll put it off, and you'll do this and you'll do that and you'll do the other. And it's because you're still in that subconscious mind, that autopilot. You're living in that place, and until you become conscious and aware of it, you can't really shift that behavior. So you're going to consistently do things, to sabotage your own good. And so you have to become aware so you can stop that. So that way you can, really live the life that you want.
I think the subconscious also includes your self-worth, because I know this because this is something that I go back and forth with, depending on what it is. And I've been known to self-sabotage, and I still am dealing with certain elements of my life that I'm self-sabotage. And I'm aware of it. Like, I know it, I see it. So I'm very conscious of it. But it's like the child in me kicks in, and I stomp my feet like a temper tantrum. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm not doing it. I know I have to do it, but I don't want to do it. And it's what the subconscious piece, and I know this, is still that element of self-worth, that I'm able to do it, that it is the imposter syndrome kicks in. And so it's whatever it is, it's like these shadows that we've talked about this on the show too, that just you haven't dealt with yet too. So the self-sabotage piece comes in, is that what is it that you haven't dealt with yet? And when we ask that question, with what you're saying with self-discovery and then self-awareness, you're not even aware of the things. Like, when you ask yourself that question, what is it that's bothering me? What is it that's deep? You may be like, I don't freaking know. I don't even know. And so sometimes it requires, that's why you need a coach. That's why you might need a therapist. That's why you need close friends that are and family members that are going to be honest with you, but coming from a loving place to say, well, this is what I've noticed. Mm-hmm. Does that resonate with you? Does that sound like it's, but again, it's about awareness of self.
Right. I mean, worthiness comes from love and belonging. So when you have this place of love and belonging to yourself, loving yourself, and then it can go from where other people love you, or, creator loves you, universe loves you, God loves you. And you're so aware and in touch with that. And that is a certainty for you. There's a way that you step into worthiness and deserving. And you can't really step into that unless you have those things in place. So hence why I talk about love as our superpower, because it's something that we can absolutely give to ourselves, where we can, then put forth, I'm worthy and deserving of success, because that's really what we're talking about. And success comes in all, shapes and forms and everything like that. But we can do that for ourselves and be successful in whatever area and arena we're in.
That's wonderful. Absolutely. What do you think, Gladiator? You're awfully quiet.
No, well, because I don't want to interrupt her. What she's saying is very important. It's very important that this is what the Badass Buddha and I speak on. But it's always so different when a new person comes up.
Yes.
With it always sounds different and more elevated, and that's what I love. I love the way you're explaining this. Like, you have me captivated over here. and I'm talking to Badass because I'm a very passionate person. When I'm speaking about something that I love, I'm Puerto Rican and Italian. It always sounds like I'm yelling at somebody. And I probably am half the time, but no. But that's the thing, that belonging, love, it is absolutely. But you said that, that's why I just stood here. When and it's the Badass Buddha and I were talking about this yesterday. We have to remind ourselves every day that we are the most important persons in our lives. When we get up in the morning, whisper, I love you. Good morning. I get up before my feet hits the ground. I'm thanking God. I'm sharing my gratitude before I sit up. I'm being grateful that I have that opportunity to get up, right? I'm not telling you that my whole day is filled with opportunity, which it is, but I procrastinate. I'm in my seasonal sadness. But what you said is true. My name is Margarita. And my writer's name, my artist's name is Margarita de Margarita, which means I belong to me. Which means that I never had a problem saying, no, I'm not doing it. Why? Because I don't feel like it. Oh, but come on. No, I don't want to. So, and what you're saying, it's just, I hope everybody's listening. So I don't want to interrupt. Go ahead, Sophia, carry on.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, you're expressing it in a very passionate way, and I mean, I'm so happy it resonates with you and everything like that. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
We had another question from our Janice. Margarita, how do you motivate someone to get out of their comfort zone to progress and do better?
Maron, I'm with you. So let me tell you about our Janice, my son-in-law. Love him to death, and he is wonderful. But if I come around, right, when I'm at their house, I'm very, like, I start writing, and well, and then they see me, and I'm like, oh, by the way, look, I have this. Ding! There's like the cartoon characters where they all take off in all different directions. So ask Sophia, honey. Because they always want everybody, like my sisters and everything. They see me coming with papers, they take off on me.
Well, let's answer it then. So let's see. How do you motivate someone to get out of their comfort zone to progress and do better? What do you think, Sophia?
Well, I would tell them about self-discovery. I think that's really the place, is understanding how you think, understanding your belief system. I think our heart beliefs is the key to what we do, because it moves us to take action, whatever it is, good, bad, or ugly. It moves us to take action. Yeah. So that's what we have to really focus on, because sometimes we have like those beliefs and we think, we learn things from the time we were children, and our environments influence our parents, whatever was going on there, all the different people that we come across in our lives has influenced us. And so there's a way when we take that opportunity to self-discovery, we're stepping into owning our own. We're stepping into that place of, moving forward in our own, where we are now saying how we would like it to be. If you don't feel like it, don't do it. I used to say, people would ask me stuff, and my first word would be like, no. But then, and this could be like the self-sabotage, I would go back and I'll start thinking, well, maybe I should. And then I start having guilt. And then all of those things culminate. And then I'll say, oh, okay, all right, well, I figured out how I could still, do it and do the other stuff too. And so after a while, I was just like, once I started that self-discovery and I realized that about myself, I was like, done. My word is my word. No means no.
That's great. That's fabulous. Now, when did that occur for you?
I don't know. I would say, like, because my story into getting into self-mastery started with me struggling with my weight. And this was one of those things where I would cook and people wouldn't eat, and I would feel like I have to eat the food for them. So, because then we'll think about starving children somewhere else and all these other things. So then I would eat the food. And so that was like this ongoing cycle. So I kept going around the mountain. Started from my teenage years all the way into my adulthood. And I needed to do something different. And so that's when a lot of it started for me. I had to stop and start saying, no, I'm not going to eat this food. Throw it in the trash. That's it. Or just don't cook it, And so I, going on in my own journey, I read this quote, and this was like the key to changing my life. It says, beloved, I wish above all things that thou would prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prosper. And so for me, that when the word soul, I had read it so many times before, but this time that soul prosperity spoke to me. I was like, what's my soul? What's my soul's prosperity? How can I prosper my soul and lose weight and get healthy? And so that's how I came into discovering my soul's prosperity. And it was wrapped in self-mastery. And I was able to do that and lose 100 pounds. I even I signed up for gastric bypass surgery. That didn't work. I didn't get a surgery date. And so, I had to keep going. And so I made a decision that I'm going to do this. I called the lady. I said, I think it's taking too long and I could have made some progress by now. So I'm going to go try one of my own thing. And so that was where I discovered my soul's prosperity. And it was a wonderful thing because it gave me, figured out how to get up and over the mountain. I had to carve that new path. I had to discover myself and become so aware and have the self-knowledge, that I was doing things short-term, quick fix, all of those things, and finding outside solution to take care of an inward problem.
Yeah, which everybody, that's what everybody does.
Yeah.
And you know what? Listen, Gwen had a comment. She said, I want to get my nursing license back after several years. I struggle with the fear of failure. And then she wrote a question. How do I overcome the fear? Self-awareness first. So what do you think, ladies?
Yes. Well, I would say self-awareness builds from self-discovery. So start there. Start asking yourself the question, why am I afraid? Why do I have this fear of failure? Why don't I want good for myself? And then just start taking a look at self, understanding your own personal story. I think that is key. The stories you tell yourself, the stories other people tell you, all of those things, look at those very closely because that is the key. We have the information within us to transform and to change our lives. Only we have to get it up to the surface and we have to be willing to look at it.
Yes. And what's the acronym for fear anyway? False evidence appearing real.
Yes.
The question is that why is it that we, although let's see, there's another one. Let's see. People think fear means fuck everything and run. That's another one. But Marie Forleo, and I'm trying to figure, I can't remember it off the top of my head, is what she says fear is. She does a different one, but identify what is the fear? What's the failure? Okay, so is it a failure that you won't be able to pass the classes? Is it a failure that you won't be able to pass the nursing exam? Is it a fear that you will fail as a nurse yourself? Because if you haven't done it in a while, you might have to redo classes maybe, or the testing. I don't know, Gwen, you have to let us know. But the thing is that I always look at it this way, especially when it comes to school and careers. There's so many different people out there. There's so many different levels. And this is what they used to say when I was in chiropractic school. They said, you know what the person who graduates first is called? They're called summa cum laude, right? That's the person who graduates first, right? And you know who the person that graduates last is called? Doctor. So it doesn't matter if you graduated top of your class or bottom. In fact, there was one guy, and I remember in my class, he graduated somewhere, in the middle. He didn't graduate with honors or anything like that. And he just was totally right at, average. But man, he kicked ass in clinic. Like he was, and I would watch him, quietly. I would observe him, and I'd say, this guy is going to be phenomenal in practice, like absolutely phenomenal practice. Just because you graduate at the top of the class does not mean, like, I wasn't phenomenal in practice, and I graduated high up there. And it's like, because we're all different, did I look at it as a failure? I did for a while, that I failed at my practice, but it was just really bad choices. I didn't know how to run a business, I had to take it in pieces. So yeah, failing the exam, that's what she's saying. So I think here's another way to look at how many times you're allowed to take the exam. Like, right. People brag about law, the bar, they'll be like, I took it 4 times or something like that. I took my boards. I failed one of my boards completely, part 3, which you could either pass or fail the whole thing, but other parts of the boards. But in the end, it's like, I just kept going. I'm like, well, I failed. I got to do it again, or I have to do this one piece of one of them again. And I did it. And so that's what you do. You just, is there a cutoff of how many times you can fail? If you fail once, then okay, what do I need to do next time? What didn't I do? I failed the Connecticut State board the first time I took it by 5 freaking points. And I was so pissed, $500 down the drain. I had to wait 6 months for the next test. And so you bet your ass I was determined on the second round. I'm not wasting that money or time. So I made sure I passed that second time, So it's sometimes you have to think of it as the fear. How do we make the fear into fuel?
Well, yes. And sometimes she says failing the exam. Sometimes we look for tangible things to blame as to what we're fearful at. Start cultivating self-trust, Gwen. Cultivate self-trust. It'll lead to self-love. And self-love will lead to you knowing that if you exhaust all your options, do your best, and try again. Right. And then that you're never giving up on yourself. Yeah, you didn't get it right the first time. Who passes their exams anyway on the first time? My son is brilliant in a lot of things, but he clams up when it comes to exams. And there's people who that's what they do. They're not testers. So yes, exactly what Sophia said, the self-discovery. She talked about the soul. And, my thing is feed your spirit, feed it with the love, feed it with the confidence, feed it with the knowing of I am, because God is in everything and everyone. And then say, okay, I trust myself enough to attempt to sign up for the exam. And then I'm going to trust myself enough to study.
Study my ass off.
No, not overstudy. Study, take a break, come back to it, study. Because when you're
you could take breaks, but she could study her ass off, get that information in.
Right.
But she says it. Look, she says it here, Gladiator Guru. She writes, yes, my clinical is my best attribute, the fear of not remembering the information. I guess I can take it again, but if I fail, I'm not trying. I'm not trying to fail because of the money. So you just gain strength by that statement. You just made the statement of saying, I don't want to fail because of the money. So you're stronger than you think you are, because there's a strength right there. You're saying, if I'm going to go ahead and do this, I'm not failing it.
Right.
Now it's just a matter of saying, I'm just going to do this.
This is one of the things that I see happening with people is that when they become aware, they get stuck. And they get stuck because they said, I may have made some mistakes. I have some failures and all of those things, and so they stay there. So they'll start the self-discovery journey. They'll become aware and they'll get stuck. And what I say to that, to release you quickly from that area, is to accept yourself. Whatever has happened before has happened already, and to accept it, and then to give yourself that forgiveness.
Yes.
I forgive myself for maybe not studying as hard as I could and failing that exam, but I'm going to try again because I'm so determined. I forgive myself. So that way you forgive yourself and let yourself go so you can be successful the next time around, because awareness gives us the information. So that way we have this choice now. We know what we need to do in order to move forward in our lives.
Right.
Amen.
Right. Perfect.
That was perfect, Sophia.
Thank you.
That was. Thank you for that. I just wanted to give a shout. I saw earlier that Maria Garcia was on. Hello, sis. I'm sorry I didn't acknowledge you. Go ahead. That was it.
So what do you think, Gladiator Guru, as far as Gwen's situation, and is the fact that, like, going for it?
I think she should go for it. She says she's a little older and her memory's not up to par. That's all of us. I forget shit from one room to another. Then I'm like, oh my God, I know I came in here.
That's a self-fulfilling prophecy right there, though. So don't say that. You just learn differently. Don't that. I never let students get away with that bullshit, because I taught students from 18 up. And when the older ones would say that, oh, I'm slower. I'm like, no, you just learn differently. Use your experience. That's the beauty of being an older student. You use your life experience to help you remember. You associate it with things that you already know, and that's how you will remember it. Like, Desiree already said she would help you with cards. Gwen, you'd be surprised how many people can help you. I can even help you with study skills if that's the case. But it's making that determination to go for it. So Gladiator Guru,
I had a lot more to say regarding that. So thank you for cutting me off.
Yeah, no, sorry. Go ahead.
So, Gwen, I've known Gwen for many, many, many years. She was actually Desiree. She was actually at my book signing with Iritza, right? Because we went out to dinner afterwards. So yeah. You got this, Gwen. You've been out of it. When you're out of the workforce for many years, regardless of what it is, you do have those second thoughts. But like Sopheia said, do that self-mastery, feed your spirit, cultivate that self-trust. You can do all of that. And look what Henny said. This is so true. Gwen, read this.
Yep. My mom failed her nursing exam several times due to overstudying in a hostile environment. She took the test again after she left the hostile environment, didn't overstudy, and she just went with the flow and passed at 59.
59. She's making buku money, and it hasn't even been a year that she is a nurse. She never gave up. So, yeah, and she has a language barrier. And she left to Puerto Rico to do the last leg of the training because of she understands it, but to read it, write it, and translate it in her head to then transfer it onto paper was a bit much. So she exhausted all her options to say, because I'm gonna get this, and I'm not gonna stop. So thank you for bringing that up, Penny. And Gwen, there you go. Gwen was actually, Gwen, we all went to dinner with our Janice after my book signing. So you remember that. So yeah, we gotta just fight for what we want. We gotta fight that procrastination, that's the fear, that the negative talk we do to ourselves. We have to go to the battlefield and fight through it and pave the way for the good things to come. Because we're not over. We're not done. We're not quitters until our last breath. We may pause here and there, but I don't believe we're going to quit.
I love that. Here's the other thing, Gwen, too, is consider something. Close your eyes sometime today and think about what your life would be like when you do pass, when you get that job. And so maybe the fear is not just about whether you're going to pass the test, it's whether you do pass the test. And it's the fear of success, because your life will change drastically when you get that nursing position. And like Gladiator Guru said, you're going to make a shitload of money, and you are going to have a lot of hours that you're able to work because they need nurses. So what will your life look like when you start making that much money? And how is that going to affect your world? So sometimes the sabotage is not just fear of failure, but fear of success.
Absolutely. I think sometimes that takes the lead and the majority of a lot of people's.
It does for me. Yeah, for sure.
So go ahead, Sopheia. I'm sorry we interrupted.
No, it's okay. I was just thinking that being self-supportive, because all of you guys are offering to support her, to help her, study, to get, whatever help she needs and everything like that. But I think there's a way for her to support herself, so that way she's able to receive and know that she can, receive that help from the universe or God or whoever when she goes to take her test. So, I mean, I know that for me, when I was in college, that was one of the things that I did. I prayed. I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to remember, to remember the information so that way I can pass. And so, that's a part of it, is to really have those self-supporting habits that's going to help to, give you the confidence that you're able to do it. That's self-motivation as well.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely, for sure.
Yes. Oh my God, that's very powerful. See, it's all about that. the badass Buddha. It's so funny. I didn't even realize that what we discussed yesterday was just like mirroring what we're discussing now.
I know.
We were talking about that. We were talking about you can be surrounded by your tribe of 50 women who are, have all different outlooks on life, and ask them, I'm stuck. Can you help me with this? What should I do? What should I do? Because that's a question we're always asking, and we really don't welcome the responses because we're always going to do what's in our intuition, our gut, what's in our heart to do. And I was telling her, and we're going to ask, and all 50 of them are going to give whatever scenarios they think is, whatever, it's good for that scenario. But at the end of the day, we're going to look inside and we're going to choose what's best for us. And sometimes, not more so than not, we're correct. And then we got that little self-sabotaging idea that we got it and we're going to do it this way. But for the most part, we do make wise choices. So yes, and Gwen is like that. Just close your eyes, meditate. Her name is Guinevere Lord. My mother named her after my favorite era in life of the Renaissance and all of that. And you got your ancestors' powers behind you. We've talked about this, invoke it. Invoke it for that strength and walk in your truth.
Amen.
Fantastic. This has been such a fabulous conversation. I mean,
you gotta come back on, Sophia.
Absolutely. Sophia, do you have anything coming up, like any workshops or anything? Like, how could people reach you? And
they can
stuff I'll put up.
They can reach me on my website. So my name is spelled with an E. So I always say it's Sophia with an E. So it's Sopheia speakswisdom.com. So that's where they can reach me on my website, and all my information is there. So we can get in touch. There's also a complimentary offer of a life assessment. Are you creating a life you love? So that way you can discover yourself and get into that place of realizing your vision for your life and all of those things.
And I love your Facebook, your Facebook sign. It's Sophia Wisdom Speaks Life.
Yes. Yes. That's the business name and my name. Yeah. But Sophia also means wisdom. So we have wisdom speaks life.
I love that. Sabiduría in Spanish. I love it. Sabiduría is wisdom.
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So it's been a pleasure having you on. I mean, it really has. And we definitely would love you back on. And everyone, just definitely reach out. That's the whole point. There was one post that Desiree said for us to pass her phone number on to Gwen. All the tribe members should be reaching out to each other on Facebook, for those of you that are on Facebook, and connecting. So if you see the person's name, reach out and become friends with all the guests that we have on, and make sure that we're all connected, because it's our responsibility to take care of ourselves, but also to boost others up and to, support one another. So if somebody has a business, if they have a page, make sure that you also follow that page so that you can share that information. Maybe it's not the information you might need at this time, but it might be later, or maybe you might not need the information at all, but you can pass it on to somebody that does. So we definitely encourage that. Gladiator Guru, any last words?
Thank you for coming. I will be looking at your .com, wisdom speaker.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you. Thank you for showing up this morning and being open to answer all the questions, because you know what? That's what we do this for. We do that to share. We do it to give. We do that. We do this so that we can enrich the lives of everyone and anyone who's listening, and to get different perspective from ours. But we've been so blessed that the people we do have on, they speak and they share the same knowledge and the same experiences and the same truths that we do. They just do it in a different tone of voice, which probably reaches a little further. And we love it. We love it. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I think it's all about like attract likes. You know, so whatever you are, then you usually attract more of that to yourself. So when you get the same people, get people saying the same thing, you're like, yes, so it's just that agreement that kind of having the spirit. Yeah,
it is. It's confirmation from the universe. It is allowing us. It is those soul ties that are being connected. Yeah. And people got to pay attention to the soul ties because some of them aren't and they still go. So you have to pay attention to soul ties because they're like soul ties. So yeah. So thank you. Any positive words you want to leave the tribe with?
Well, I would encourage everyone to be committed to living to their highest potential.
Write that down, mi gente.
That's right. Wonderful. All right. So so today's Thursday. So Tuesday's show you won't want to miss. We have a very special guest. We are talking the title of Tuesday's show is You Are My Shiro. And we're going to have a special guest named Bridget Rudin. And Bridget's story is unbelievable. And you will want to hear this. She's very, very inspirational, especially for those of you that are dealing with any type of health issue, that you will want to hear her phenomenal fight and commitment to herself, which is goes exactly what we were talking about. And then on Thursday, we will be talking about seasons, time, and transition. We're going to be talking about everything that we've been going through and what people tend to feel as the seasons start to shift. So we want to thank everybody for coming on. And Gladiator Guru, any last thing before we do our sign off?
Have a great day, mi gente.
Yeah, wonderful. Right. So from the Badass Buddha, everybody have a great weekend. And remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste, everyone. Take care. Bye.